All right, everybody. Welcome to the Northwest Open Breakdown. I'm Bjorn Johnson, host of the Bjorn Johnson Internet Program. I'm here with Professor James Weed today. How are you doing today?
Good, man. It's good to be here. I appreciate you helping me with this, man. I'm excited.
Tell us a little bit about the two Superfights we're going to be watching.
So all four guys I had the privilege of knowing. Quite a few of them have built such a good name and stuff like that, especially out here in the Northwest, but even beyond. We have Jim Collins. Jim Collins, you know, is a crazy, interesting individual, man. I mean, tree climbing and just all kinds of stuff like that. Real cool guy. He went against Julio Diaz, one of our black belts, and so it was a great match, man. It was cool to see them get out there and also see the rule set and how well it worked with making people move, making people attack. And then, of course, the main event, you know, Trevor Prangley and James Foster is. Man, it doesn't get any bigger than that, man. So
absolutely. I mean, you have one of the premier big guys in Jiu-Jitsu in James Foster, and then you got Trevor Prangley, who's just an incredibly decorated and experienced combat athlete.
Yeah,
great at Jiu-Jitsu, but I mean, we're talking judo, wrestling, boxing, MMA. I mean, the guy's done it all.
Yeah, you see, like now, Chael Sonnen and stuff has really been coming back out and throwing his events and stuff like that, and kind of making a name as a grappler, not just an MMA fighter. Trevor Prangley submitted him twice.
What do you say we take a look at the first match?
Let's do it.
All right. All right, here it is, that match we're talking about. Here's Jim Collins getting loosened up here. And then, of course, he's going to be fighting Julio in just a second. You can see Julio in the upper corner there. This was a good matchup.
It really was, man. It worked out great. I was really, really happy for it. And I also want to give some credit for Timothy Eberle for the video. That worked out pretty great. And I had no idea he helped me out with so much when it comes to designing and stuff like that. And I had no idea he was recording. So we had an issue with kind of losing some of our videos. And so to sit there and actually have him come through and have this and just nicely just kind of scanning across it actually worked out pretty great, man.
Right. Now, Jim, once it gets going, he's like a bullet out of a gun. Once it goes from 0 to nothing, and you see the same thing with Julio. That's what made it so exciting.
I would say Julio's got one mode, and it's on delay. Everything's just go, go, go.
A nice guard pull by Jim there. Of course, the grip fighting starting everything off. Julio working on passing.
Good balance from Julio at the same time, constantly just making him check every edge and stuff like that. Constantly trying to go for sweeps. Close one. Had to move the table out of the way.
I remember I've watched this match a handful of times, and I've seen Jim compete. He's got some sticky hooks.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he's got a real good half guard, and it's good guard retention here too, man. There was a couple times there where I was thinking that Julio was going to get it. It sucks when you're that close to the edge too. I'm going like, trying to decide, trying to get him to get a stable position. But it was a constant scramble, and Jim was able to have great guard retention through all that.
A good-looking referee there too.
It is, man. That guy is sharp.
Starting things off again, that grip fight, we're going to really see it again in our next match. Talk about the importance of grip fighting at any level, but especially this highest level.
What I like, man, and again, I think both of these matches, the guys use the idea, we talked about like double guard pulls and stuff like that. There is a time and place to pull a guard, because, I mean, if my job is to submit you and I have 5 minutes, I need to get to a position to try to submit you. And if I feel that means me getting to my guard real quick and going for it, I get that. But what I like is that both of these matches, that we're going to watch today, both of these matches, that wasn't they didn't, stand like some events where they walk out, they sit down, they butt scoot towards each other. I like the fact that they actually fight for the takedown. They do all this stuff, and then occasionally you'll see them after a while go, hey, I think the best option is to pull a guard and go for it.
Right.
So I like that. Yeah. See a little bit about everything and not just people playing footsies.
Tremendous base by both of them, and just people that don't understand jiu-jitsu can't really comprehend how much energy just this grip fighting and the stand-up battle actually exerts.
Yeah. And that's one thing I love about this sport, and a situation like something like this is with self-defense and things like that. A lot of times you're learning how to fight somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, someone that throws looping punches and you're blocking it and things like that. But what I love about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is then it gets to this point where you go, okay, like I get it, the average guy that comes in, or not even the average guy that comes in, some guys are way tougher and bigger and all this stuff than me. This is what I do, and I know I'm gonna tie him up. I know this, I know this is how it works because I train in Jiu-Jitsu. But now I get to go into tournaments and do like this, and you're competing against someone where I can't take him out of his element. I can't go, I think I strike better than him, so now let's strike. I get to sit there and fight him where I know he's the best, and where he knows I'm the best, and where we spend most of our time, and I got to try to beat him at what I know he's good at. And so watching these two guys, every grip matters because they both know neither one is someone to take for granted.
Absolutely. And Julio working on kind of the collar drag, that just puts so much torque on your spine.
Yeah.
It's not
Especially
a pleasant position
the next match,
to be.
you'll see when Foster does it. that really puts some pressure.
Now, of course, being a cash cow veteran, when you're seeing all these lapel grips, are you seeing wrist locks everywhere here, James?
We can't hear volume over here and stuff right now, but you'll hear it constantly. Kelly Sandel on the sidelines helping coach Julio, yelling out to the cash cow handshake. Those are what we always call for our wrist locks when someone grabs the lapel. So good guard pull there. Again, one of those things that, trying to look now, he's going to start looking for a gi choke there, like a I can't think of what it's called right now.
Kind of a clock or darce or any type of choke in there. Julio is very crafty with those lapels.
He is a pain with that, yes.
And you want to talk about sticky hooks. Here's another set of sticky hooks here.
Right there it was. So he pulled guard. Again, using it properly. We're looking for the takedown, but also pulling guard and then going for that half guard we talked about. It was one of my favorite sweeps. Just that old school, half guard sweep right there. Coming up to the single and Julio accepting the sweep. So right there, that I think points have not gone into play yet, though. So although he's on top, he's going to need to pass or something or get a submission when that final minute happens. And like I said, this year we've switched to the final 2 minutes to give a little bit more going. But look right here, this is the final minute right here. He's able to pass. Now I just get him to 3 points. And so Jim Collins is now up 3 points for passing the guard, locking on a good collar grip. Possibly going to try to move on to like a DARS or better position. It's one of Julio's big things right here, man. Rolled him right out of it.
When you get your weight too far forward on Julio, he will roll you every time.
Yes.
The pass that set that all up was very technically sound by Jim Collins, working kind of that X pass with a lot of pressure. And there's the time. So there it was, the winner again by way of points. Jim Collins, 3 points for the pass. And a very technically sound performance by both of them. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier. Jim took a new job. He was scheduled to work, or was scheduled rather to fight this year. Yep. But explain what's happening there.
So he was supposed to fight my professor, Walter Cascal, and so he immediately stepped in, was down to go, all that kind of good stuff. But then he got a great opportunity, offered a job from the UFC, so he took that and moved to Vegas for that great opportunity. He hit me up and was like, I am so sorry. We have posters, all that kind of stuff made. He's like, I just can't make it. I have this awesome opportunity. And then he goes, I have somebody that might be that is interested if you are. And I'm like, I'll take him into consideration. I didn't want someone who's washed up and stuff like that, whatever, So I was like, I'll take him into consideration. He's like, all right, well, it's Brandon Olson. I'm like, yes, I want him, because that guy is phenomenal. I know he's, beat some really, really well-known names, in competition. Keith Olsiander, ones like that. And so it's going to be a real tough match, man. It was actually nice is when calling Walter about that, I called Walter up and I go, hey, you're going to go against Brandon Olson. And Brandon goes, Walter goes, man, he's a tough guy. I'm excited for this. And then when I talked to Brandon, same thing. He's like, oh, man, what an honor, man. Walter's a tough guy. I'm looking forward to this. So two guys just looking to bang, man.
They've had a lot of similar opponents. You mentioned Kurt Olsiander, but their paths have just not crossed yet.
Exactly. So now it has, and now it will.
And it's going to be exciting. We'll preview that fight a little bit more after we move on. But the next match now, of course, is the main event, the heavyweight match of Trevor Prangley and James Foster. Something I really want to point out here. I had all these competitors on my podcast, and I also had James on, and something that he talked about is, and I can relate to this being a bigger guy, when you refer to someone as just, he's so big, that's part of it. But I really want to emphasize, and I think you would agree here, James is also incredibly technically sound.
You'll see it a lot in this. And again, this rule set helps a lot where you're able to see just different positions and different things. But yeah, Foster is just a enormously big individual, man, and incredible pressure like no other, man. His pressure is insane. Instead of just, like I said, on one part of your body, you feel it across your whole upper body, just pinning you to the mat. It's insane. at the same time, you see him playing worm guards and all these small guy game. It's so cool to see, man. And so yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. And to again have these two guys go out there and just grinders, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Well, what do you say we take a look at that match?
Let's do it.
All right, so here it is. Trevor, of course, with the shaved head and purple on his gi, and James with the tape on his hand and the full beard and the grip fighting. Like the theme from last match is what's going to really start this thing off.
Especially when they're this size, man. I mean, you don't want to end up on the bottom of either one of those guys. So they're both looking for the top position. What's cool is you see James Foster's gi. Nice attempt right there for the takedown. But you see his gi is just riddled with patches for amazing foundations and organizations. He's constantly going around traveling and doing seminars for, they have black belts for butterflies, Mission 22, We Defy, things like that. These are all organizations that do so much in the jiu-jitsu community for the community. And so him rocking those patches, and that's one thing that actually we changed this year. For our next tournament, what we're going to change is not only is the first and second place overall team going to win a custom trophy, but we're also going to donate 10% of every one of their students' registration to a foundation of their choice.
Absolutely.
So in our case,
cool.
we go for with We Defy. So we'll sit there and 10% of every one of my students, whether they win or lose, it doesn't matter. If we get first or second place, 10% of that money is going to go towards We Defy, which I think is going to be awesome about this. Oh, there we go. Oh, man, the pressure, man. That just whip down. And this is not a place you want to be against Foster, man.
No, going to that side control. Great job here by Trevor of getting a shoulder and a hip up. It makes life a lot more difficult to work with. But it takes a lot of energy to do that. I mean, there's a lot of technique working there. And one thing I remember while watching these matches, and you hear guys talk about this as James kind of transitions nice and slowly to a north-south position, riding him, is the breathing. If we had the sound on right now, you just hear the slow, controlled, rhythmic breathing from both of them. A sign of a very high level of experience working to the north-south here. Trevor hanging on to that pant leg. This isn't a pleasant place to be against any heavyweight, but when somebody, again, has the technique and knows how to use it, it takes some brass to stay in there. And Trevor is definitely got plenty of that.
And what I like too is, again, when you see these guys right now, there's no points. So you see the whole time they're working. Like although it's controlled and stuff like that, they're not just spazzing. They are working. You'll see Foster pulling out those lapels. Trevor, noticing that and defending that and stuff like that. So he'll have to give up on the lapel, then he'll go back to it, like right there. You'll hear Dighton on the sidelines coaching him and letting him, Trevor know that don't just give up on the lapel. Watch out for the lapel grips. And he does a great job doing so. And again, the rule set, man. And now we're going to change it to final two. But what's nice is, again, none of this matters. There's no points.
Right.
So they need to get this submission. If not, in that final minute, Foster's going to have to move up to go to knee on belly, to go to mount, to try to score some points, and that could cause a scramble or something to happen to make this even more entertaining. Trap in the arm.
That's brilliant, stapling that arm down. That's a.
I love it.
If you watch enough of Foster's matches, that is a vintage maneuver by him.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I love playing off that lapel. Same thing, like working kind of that Dars kind of grip thing, and then blocking with the legs on the arms like this. A lot of times they encourage you to let someone after you pin that arm to turn sideways so you can start to attack some of those chokes. But again, Trevor doing such a great job keeping it safe. Look at that, freeing his head up, getting his arm out.
Now, an interesting fact about James Foster, he actually, from time to time, trains with the 27-time world champion master, Neto Laurent.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's got a lot of tips and suggestions from him.
From the best. From the best. I was able to go teach a seminar, a group seminar for an organization, something like that, for a good cause, at Trevor's gym and alongside with him on Nacho Lunch. And so it's actually pretty cool. First time I got to meet him, and he's a goofball, man.
Now, that's a really good grip he's
look
got
at
under
this.
the armpit. It makes it impossible to use that arm. He gets a hook in,
He's got
effectively
one
on
hook
the
in,
back
so
here.
This is what gets crazy. So now I think points are actually into play now. So hence, again, it started him moving. It started this whole movement. So now we're experiencing back positions, all this kind of stuff, all because Foster knows he needs to score some points. He doesn't want to have to go to overtime round. So he has one hook in. He's just got to get the second hook. If he gets that second hook, that would be the 4 points for the back. Look at this. He's starting to put it in. Trevor's identifying it, keeping it kind of off. Right there, it goes in. And then, Trevor turns like that. So again, because of this, it causes a scramble that gets him back up. And you're able to experience so many other positions instead of just pinning and side control and saying that was it, So because of that, again, no points were scored. He nearly had the back. He nearly had knee on bell. He nearly had all the stuff, but Trevor did a great job defending it. So now, I think for a second, too, they were like, oh, okay, we're done. Nope. You go to the final death match now. So, so sudden death comes in. And so now basically first point scored or submission. Someone can pull guard and just go for a sub, or first point scored for takedown or whatever. Now, James last time got the takedown, which of course now guarantees thinking, man, it's going to be a lot harder this time. Especially when my understanding, I think Trevor's a black belt in judo, also a well-accomplished wrestler. So now he might be second guessing, maybe going for a takedown of this one, or trying to just make it a straight jiu-jitsu game. So now again, some grip fighting.
And a question I had on that earlier, you can really see, you can't see it from this angle. We saw it earlier. Trevor's working higher on the shoulder with that grip. Is that maybe to avoid the wrist lock, or is that just a preference?
Yeah, probably just preference. I'm not sure. I mean, I think a lot of times guys, especially like wrestling ones like that, and judo guys don't even think too much about that wrist lock. So I don't know if that's necessarily why he's doing it, or if that's just what he's used to. Plus, you'll see Foster kind of opening up his elbows to kind of keep him on the inside. Foster on the inside, and Trevor having to kind of come over the top and stuff. But yeah, I'm sure just different styles, certain different whatever takedown they're both looking for.
And the grip strength of both these guys is unbelievable. As happens with years and years and years of grappling experience.
I've been under both of these guys. It doesn't feel good. Both are beasts.
And there's that referee resetting things again. Great work by him all day on the matches.
All day, every day.
That distance right there.
He's not just a beautiful face.
And of course, somebody's got to get it. They're fighting for an underhook for anything here, really, but nobody's giving an inch. Yeah. You can see Trevor pushes back a few steps. James pushes back a few steps. It's this push-pull, this give-take the whole time. Again, for
another one for like almost a fireman's carry and stuff. But out of the mat, so again, no points. Going back to the center, man. We want it to be official. We want to have that's one thing I want. I'm draws, man. You want to draw. You want to sit there and say who's the winner,
Right.
So they're back out there again, just going for it. And now this time, look at that again, to have a almost 300-pound man right there go pulling guard. And now look at this. He starts playing like Keenan. Starts pulling out the lapel like he's going to start going worm guard.
Right.
So you'll have Dighton on the sidelines again, kind of warning him about watching out for that lapel feed. Once you get locked up in that, man, it is not fun. Look, starts to elevate him. Goes to come up on single, goes to deep, coming out the back.
What balance by Trevor.
Trevor jumping on this knee bar. Now this is, again, that put Foster on top. So that actually became a sweep. And this is, again, right there, a good chance, man. Trevor being on top, coming over the head, a good chance where he could have, got that pass and finished it up. But again, he's not necessarily doesn't compete a lot in jiu-jitsu. So him going, I just want to sub. I want to finish this. So him jumping on that knee bar, and in that case, it didn't work out for him point-wise. But at the same time, it was mad respect for him trying to finish it. And then also next time, the better he starts doing and getting at this and competing like this, man, in no time, he'll be sitting there playing the different system and the kind of mindset and getting those wins. It's going to be amazing. He'll, like I said, build a name in the jiu-jitsu scene in no time.
Well, there was 2 fantastic matches.
It was, man.
A lot of fun, and thank you for watching them on here. You can also, of course, listen to the Bjorn Johnson internet program from last year that I did there. If you want to hear interviews from these competitors, I had them on, I think, before their matches. I may have had James on after his match. I can't remember, but we got their perspectives and insight on things. But that was last year. Let's look forward to this year. Talk about the super fights this year.
This year, for one, everything is just going to be bigger and better, man. Super fights. We're going to have Walter Cascal, my professor, an incredible numerous-time world champion, Pan American champion, national champion. from Brazil, is now stationed in Las Vegas, and that's where I started training with him. I've gone from white belt through black belt, first degree black belt through him. And so he's going to be coming flying out for a super fight against Brandon Olson. Again, I couldn't be happier, man, to have this matchup. Brandon he's a tough guy, man. And, he's got a crazy sneaky choke he works that, he showed me once, and then ever since then I started working it, and it's I think it's called the birthday choke or the Olsen choke, something like that. It's really awesome. So seeing those two go at it again, a matchup that just kind of never has happened, and now we get to see it happen, is going to be amazing. And then plus we have Brian.
Well, let's stay on that match for a second. I mean, Walter is he was on the show last year about this time, maybe a little bit later. But correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, Walter is one of these guys. He'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yes.
He's not going to back down.
Yep.
So that's what makes this even more exciting.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's always a blast when you have these two people, again, that have such they're just true warriors, man. We hit them up and they know they're not looking for an easy match. They want to fight.
Right.
And that's awesome. Yeah.
So that'll be that's the main event.
Yes. That's right. I guess I should have started with the other one too, right?
That'll be the big one. And of course the other one.
It's extremely technical, man. These, when you have small guys, we have Brian Johnson, who I've actually had the privilege of meeting after I moved out to Spokane. And he's just phenomenal. I mean, this guy, his knowledge is just insane. He, competes everywhere. And what's cool is I'll go fly out to Nogi Worlds or Pans and stuff like this. You never see any post on Facebook about him going to compete. And I show up and he's there and he's rocking on the mats, and then he just never bothers making posts or doing that stuff to promote himself or do that kind of stuff. But he's out there killing it. One of the most technical black belts I've known. Seriously teaches one of the best seminars I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of seminars, and he's one of the best teachers. It's pretty amazing. And then his opponent, Jeff Mugatungai, he's from Guam and now is the head instructor of a Gracie Baja in Washington. Again, when you have the guys of this smaller frame guys and stuff like that, these are two extremely technical black belts. I just love watching the smaller guys get out there and just intertwine themselves and attack each other. It's just going to be amazing. And Jeff just recently got his black belt. Congratulations, Jeff. He recently got his black belt, and trying to find a match for Brian Johnson is never easy. I call up Jeff, and immediately he's like, yes, I want it. I want this opportunity. I'm hungry. It's fresh. Let's do it. And so I'm excited to watch them go out there and fight.
It's going to be exciting. You mentioned the new rule set a bit earlier. The Superfights will be functioning under that new rule set as well. And just the tournament in general is getting kind of an upgrade.
Yes. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So with the tournament, not only, so again, the first and second place team, overall team, will not only receive a custom trophy from the Northwest Open, but we'll donate 10% of every one of the registrations from their teams, the first and second place teams, to a foundation of their choice. So what I think was going to be cool about this is, again, you'll have some people going for cancer organizations or wildlife or whatever it may be. Again, we're going for We Defy, the We Defy Foundation, which has done so much for us. And to be able to sit there and what I think it's going to be able to do is have not only people fighting for something that's even bigger than just them or their teams, but foreign organizations like these. But then also kind of giving this pride where not only will I be cheering on my team, but say another team, is fighting for We Defy, I'm going to be cheering them on too. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of cool to have everybody kind of just cheering on for something bigger than themselves. I think it's going to be really, really awesome. We have a new bracketing system or program we're using. It's the same one that the Federation uses, Abu Dhabi uses. This thing's high tech. We're going to have, instead of the flip scoreboards, we're going to have screens and laptops at every single table. We're going to have a bullpen. You can check to see how many fights you have before yours on your cell phone while you're walking through this expo and enjoying all the booths. You're going to sit there and go, I got 4 more fights. I better get over there and warm up. So we're going to have that going. Custom medals for the Northwest Open and for all the other competitors. Again, it's just going to be insane. So I'd recommend everybody, don't just be a spectator, be a competitor. Sign up, go out there, compete, get your own medal, have your own victories and your own feelings of accomplishment, and then get to watch these 4 black belts go out there and put it out there.
Sure. I am very excited for this year's Northwest Open. I will be there live doing coverage of the thing. You may be able to see the super fights on video. We'll see if that all works out. It should. At a bare minimum, you can tune in and listen to the competitors before their match. The podcast will be live, or it'll be available the next Monday. And it's going to be a good one. I was very impressed with the tournament last year. It was my first tournament I've been to out here. And it blew my mind how smooth it ran, the overall feel of it, and I can't wait for it to get that upgrade. And like you said, people should definitely get out there and compete. Maybe you're not a jiu-jitsu person, come out and watch.
Yes,
if you're in the Spokane area and you've ever wondered what is this thing all about, come out and watch. It's a marginal fee to get into the expo and see all the stuff that's going on, and then come watch some jiu-jitsu. And it's going to be an absolute blast. So thank you to all of you for watching. Thank you to the competitors that put these matches on, for putting on a good show. James, thank you for coming on over.
I appreciate it. Always a blast, man. Always fun.
All right. Thank you so much. And all the credits, you'll be able to see where to find everybody. Thank you.